Well, how's it going there, pipe pals? Old Holy Smoking Pipe Padre coming at you. And today, I thought I'd do is just got through saying the last Mass of the day. And it's significant because I am going to take a little bit of time off this week. So I've been on call to the hospital for the last 2 weeks. So anyway, it's going to be a little bit of just a little bit of R&R, and just show you a little bit of the. I got my Cissus rhombifolios back out. The chickens, you may remember my chickens that I had, and now the chickens are gone. They're not dead, no. They are fine. They're in Grass Valley, but I had these plants out on the patio. And unfortunately, the chickens loved eating them. So they did quite a bit of damage, and then there's some sun damage. So I've been bringing them back. And they're looking pretty good now. So I thought I'd bring them in and just let them just kind of get just a little bit of a rest from the heat out here in Chico. Again, I don't know if you can see this out here. This is the old back patio, which I really love this patio. And now that most of the This plant here was also pretty much decimated by the chickens as well, and it came back with a vengeance. But anyway, we have a little bit of a backyard now with some grass, and so even though the chicken house is still there, which will be picked up by my friend hopefully in the next couple of weeks or months, whenever he's ready. So anyway, what are we doing here? Well, we are going to take a leaf out of good old Dom Bauer's book, and I was watching one of his videos as he was talking about making a very special coffee. So I thought, I have made a very special coffee. I didn't do it to intentionally imitate him, but it just so happens that I actually made last night probably the best coffee in the whole wide world, cold brewed coffee. And I choose to drink when I have a pipe or other cigar, supposedly something along those lines. I like to have a coffee at my elbow. So here's what we have. We have cold brewed coffee, and also I'm going to add to it. I could add some other ingredients, but I think I'm going to stick with, of course, ground cinnamon. And believe it or not, a little bit of cayenne pepper. I actually did this by accident one time. It was early in the morning, and I grabbed this instead of the ground cinnamon. But you know what? I liked it. And then I'm also going to use some coconut cream to kind of give it a little bit of a creamy flavor. So hold on a second here. Let me just kind of, if I can, remove that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plunge this wonderful concoction here. And you know what? It probably, I'm pretty weak. Oh, I'm a weakling here. Plunge, 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 plunge. It's supposed to, hope it doesn't spray. Oh my goodness. I do not know why it is giving such a resistance. Hold on a second. Ergonomics. Okay. There we go. Okay, good. Okay. Coffee's plunged. Then I'm going to add just a little bit of cinnamon to the cup here. Let's see, where's the cup? Can you see the cup there? This is not working out too good. Okay, dash of cinnamon. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay, where's the camera at? Well, maybe the camera's right there. And a little bit of cayenne pepper. Ooh, that might be just a bit much. And we're going to pour the coffee, this delicious, cool, cold brewed coffee. Okay, then we're going to get a dollop with some coconut cream, and we're stirring it all around. Now I could choose to heat this up just a little bit, but I think this will be fine. Now I could, if I was really wanting to be kind of avant-garde, I guess I could even put a little stevia in there, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to have it just the way I made it. This beautiful coffee with coconut cream. Okay. Ooh, that's got an interesting flavor, let me tell you. Here we go. Whoa. And yes, I did drink it. I am going to drink it. I think what I am going to do is, although I like the cool, I think I am going to put it in the microwave for just about a few seconds to warm it up, because I think it's actually going to make the flavors even better. That's the old microwave. Oh, it's been a beautiful, beautiful summer day out in Chico here. Absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Again, here's my kitchen. As you can see, it's almost 1 o'clock. Okay, that's probably going to be pretty good enough there. Okay, yeah, maybe. Now it looks a little bit curdled, I'm afraid. Might be a little bit curdled, but that's just the coconut milk. It needs to be incorporated. And again, it's probably still not warm enough. Yeah, just a little bit more. Now, I will tell you, if you've never tried this before, if you've ever never put cayenne pepper into your coffee, it is a new experience. It's a very earthy flavor to it. It probably is a little bit of a wake-up call. It's probably kind of like putting Perique in tobacco. It's got that spicy pungency. So again, I think it'll be fine. I think it's going to be fine. Okay. Let's see if that'll work now. You can tell it's a little bit more, definitely more incorporated. Okay, great. Where's the cup? There it is. See, I don't know where the camera's at. Okay. Okay. So. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. It adds a very interesting texture, flavor, and but it's good. Now, again, I don't tell you that this is how you should do it. In fact, this is probably something I'm just doing kind of as in a way of experimenting. And there he is.
Generally, okay, apart from the bullshit chat and things now, adding cayenne pepper has been a thing which I've been doing for a while.
See, cayenne pepper. There you go.
A little bit. I'm a total pussy with spicy things.
So I am going to now turn this off and get ready to make a pipe video. See you soon. Well, hello there, pipe pals. Thank you for putting up with my introduction to my coffee here with my pipe. And just to let you know, here it is, the coffee. The spicy coffee. Wow. Okay, that is a combination. And I got a little bit of tobacco there. Smoking some Blackwood's flake. Now, let me just tell you, if you've never tried cayenne pepper in your coffee, well, you probably are kind of missing. It's not just a flavor additive, it's an experience. It really is an experience. Now, again, it may not be for the timid, it may not be for the meek of heart. I would say don't try this at home except without adult supervision. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm smoking one of my beloved Dunhills. This is a Dunhill Briar Root, I believe. Briar Root. And I got this a number of years ago. It's a beautiful pipe, and I really, really love it. Okay. Well, how y'all doing? Gotta try that. Gotta try that. This combination again. Okay. Fiery coffee. I would say that is a robust coffee. With the pipe tobacco, it's a powerful combination. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you're looking to get some stimulation to kind of get your engines running at full cylinders, yeah, I think you can't go wrong. So there you go. So okay, gosh, I've been wanting to make a video now for a little over a week. Thank you for a lot of the comments you made on the other videos. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate your comments, your views. You have to just excuse me because sometimes, although I do tend to sometimes smoke by myself off camera, I normally don't really smoke a lot unless I am smoking, making a video. So when I finally come back to having a pipe, it's like, don't bother me. I want to enjoy this for a few minutes, It's just that kind of an experience. So it's sort of like, okay, I want to make a video. Haven't made a video in a while, and I haven't had a pipe in a while. So it's sort of like I want to enjoy both things at once, and sometimes you have to space it out. So there we go. So, okay, well, I'm here today. Actually, to be honest with you, I just want to make a video to say hi to all of you. Hope you're having a great summer thus far. I guess it's safe to say that summer's kind of half over. I think it's safe to say that. I have to say that we're having an absolutely gorgeous summer day today. I'm not making a 360 video, obviously, because I have not figured out how to blend the different video formats. I don't even know if you can. I'm sure you can. I'm sure somebody out there can probably embed a 360 video inside a regular video. But yours truly has not figured out the art of doing that as of yet. So anyway. Wow. So much. Here we are again. It boggles the mind how so much how fast the world changes. Just a few weeks ago we were talking about Orlando. Then we're talking about the Dallas police shooting. Now we're talking about Nice, and now we're talking about, I guess, was it someplace in Florida? I haven't checked the news yet. I just got through celebrating masses today, and the first thing I really just wanted to do was get a cup of coffee, a pipe, and make a video. So I haven't looked at the headlines. I did watch a little bit of my friend Dom Bauer, the guy in Scotland, and quite entertaining. Now, the reason why, I guess I'll lead off with that. Hopefully I'll be able to connect the dots and come back full circle, making sense out of this whole video. As all of you know, the last 3 years, I've been, really working at trying to get the health and fitness down. And so I'm not going to try to justify smoking a pipe and drinking coffee, because those are two vices, I guess, traditionally known as vices. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that whole tangent, because that takes me away from what I really want to talk about. But anyway, so I watch a lot of these vegan videos, and no, I am not a vegan. Most of you know I'm not a vegan, but I'm interested. I'm interested in veganism in the sense of from a health perspective. I personally believe that Christians are not called to a specific diet. We are not under a dietary uh, scriptural prescriptions. We do not have a prescribed diet as Christians. Some Christians choose to be vegetarians, plant-based, even vegans, some of them. But there is no scriptural or Christian ethical teaching against eating animals. In fact, and I know this probably really makes some people very upset when I say this, but Jesus himself ate meat. You know, we know that he ate meat because why? Well, one, he was a practicing Jew, and Jews had to eat the Passover meal, the Seder meal, and the main ingredient is a unblemished sacrificed lamb. And you could say, well, he probably ate a vegan version of that. No, there was no such thing as vegans back then. I'm sorry, veganism only became about maybe 45, 50 years ago, the term. Have there been vegetarian-based, and I say vegetarian kind of in scare quotes only because they would still consume dairy products and probably eggs, so they were lacto-ovo vegetarians. But anyway, but also we know Jesus also ate fish as well after the resurrection. He told that he's on the shore. There are a couple incidences post-resurrection stories where they say that, Jesus says, I'm not a ghost. See that I have flesh and bones, and do you have a piece of cooked fish? And so they gave him some fish to eat. And then later he meets the disciples on the shore, and he's cooking fish for them, and they eat a breakfast of fish and bread. So Jesus also ate fish and bread when he fed the multitudes, okay? So the bottom line is that there's nothing, the Christian faith does not oppose the eating of animals. And again, animals, thanks be to God, they are there for food. And we respect that. We don't just, wantonly destroy animals and throw them away. That would be gross. That would be a gross violation. But the thing is that we look upon the eating of animals as a gift from God. We give thanks that's why we give thanks. We give thanks to God for these animals that have provided us with food and nourishment. So anyway, but again, it seems like a lot of people have been for whatever reason, they feel that eating animals, I guess they've watched too many Disney movies, that animals are our friends, and somehow animals are just like people. Well, they're not people, they're animals. And God has given them to us for our sustenance, our life. So, but a lot of people are seeking not only to embrace veganism as a personal choice, but this is where I really get my dander up, pun intended, is that they are seeking to force their viewpoint on the rest of the world and make people like me, my viewpoint, illegal. Okay? And they're trying, and they're doing a pretty darn good job of it to some extent. Not that I'm overly concerned, but I am thinking that they are trying to force their philosophy of life upon other people. And again, this gets me into kind of what happened in France and Nice. The problem is, I saw an article, and this is a kind of a little bit of a modulation in my thought, but here we go. I saw something on the internet. Maybe I'll post it behind me there. about how Muslim people do not feel integrated in regular society or something. Now, I spent several years living in another part of California, and we had a large Muslim population. You'd see Muslim women, in their hijabs and their the burqas, not maybe the full burqa, but you could tell that they were Muslim women and in Muslim families. And the problem was, and this was the thing that I kind of felt like, okay, not so much. And again, if you sound like if you think I'm a racist, please hear me out because I'm not. Um, the thing was that I did not see them. They would go shopping. The ladies in their regalia, their ceremonial clothing. They'd have their kids, and that was all fine. But they would not interact with Westerners. If they usually go two by two women with the kids in a cart, a couple of carts. They do their shopping. They were polite. I mean, they were not. They were never ever. I would say rude or disruptive in the store. But the thing was that they really made a point of staying to themselves. Now I understand if I was probably a foreigner in a foreign land, I'm probably not going to be wanting to, especially if I don't speak the language or whatever. But that wasn't the. I don't think that was the case. I think many of them did speak the language. They spoke English. And again, as a male, I would never feel comfortable approaching even Western females, other than if I was going to say, "Pardon me, excuse me," or "Excuse me, could you tell me where something was?" If I was had a legitimate reason to speak to a female in the store, or just being pleasant, that's okay too. But as far as trying to go out of my way and engage them and force them to engage with me, I wouldn't do that. But but still. There was always a sense that they'd see you coming, they'd put their head down, they wouldn't try to acknowledge you. I also noticed that in sporting events, we had a lot of soccer games, and sadly, all the Western families would be sitting where they normally would, and the Muslim people, the ladies in their burqas, they'd be sitting in a little corner on the opposite side of the field just by themselves. So the problem that I had was that they were not engaging in the Western culture. And to me, that is the problem right there. Simple. The ladies just didn't. The men, I guess they were mostly professionals working in hospitals. We had 5 major hospitals down there where I was at in Sacramento. Ooh, ooh, that cayenne pepper. Ooh, I just felt that. Ooh, but it woke me up. Um, where they certainly had families, and it seemed to be very respectable families. But my okay, so the reason why I'm talking about what happened in France and even veganism, if that makes any sense, it's like when people get locked into their mindset. And I mean, you're probably saying, but you're a Catholic and you're against certain things too. Okay, hear me out. I realize that we live in a secular society. And that means that I am going to live in a society that probably tolerates things that I don't agree with. Plain and simple. Well, some of the things, okay, let's say like liquor stores. Now, again, I don't have a problem with people drinking. If people come to my home for a meal and I know that they like to drink beer and wine, I will serve them beer and wine. Or if they want to bring their libations, that's fine too. I don't drink. I made the decision years ago that for health reasons, for me, it's just something that I have. I am a much better, believe it or not, healthier, happier person without imbibing what I believe truly is a liquid toxin. Okay, all right. That's all it is. So that's my choice, okay? And as long as I can respectfully say, if somebody says, you have to drink with us. I've had people in the past do that to me before. And I just, ooh, what do I do now? But as long as I can say, you can have what you're drinking. You can choose, if you want to choose a glass of wine or a mug of beer, and you enjoy that and you can do it responsibly, I don't have a problem with that. As long as you respect my choice to say, thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to enjoy, say, a sparkling water, or just water with lemon in it, or maybe something a little more daring, a little more adult, a cayenne pepper laced coffee. Ooh, not for the faint of heart. Okay, okay. Another thing, say, okay, adult bookstores. Okay, we have those in society. People. Again, I'm not casting judgment on people, but again, if I could live in a society without those, I would probably choose to do that. But we live in a secular society, and okay, I don't have to go there. Okay, I don't go there. But the thing is that there are people that choose to do that for entertainment purposes, whatever. Okay, so are there things in society that I don't like or I don't agree with? Absolutely. But I realize that other people have different beliefs. And again, I may not agree with their beliefs, but they still have a right in this country to practice the way, the right to liberty, life, and pursuit of happiness. Okay, whatever floats your boat. But the problem is when you come to a point and you say, your opinion is not going to be tolerated, that's where I get nervous. Because, again, with whatever happened in Nice or all these other places where we see a lot of Muslim people coming into the different cultures, there is, I'm afraid, a real clash of the culture west of the Western culture and the Eastern culture, the Islamic culture. And it presents some very interesting problems. I don't know if Muslims allow smoking. I don't think they like smoking either. So if a Muslim person was watching this, they would be not only against alcohol and pornography, but they'd also be against, I guess, maybe even smoking and tobacco. I think they allow coffee drinking. I sure hope so. But here's the thing. This is where things get difficult because people want to jump to the conclusion that if you have any qualms about immigration, whether it's in the UK or it's in the US or in Europe, and you put restrictions on immigration, somehow that makes you a racist. And I don't think that's the case. Again, the beauty about Western culture is that we can be a kind of like a multicultural stew that has different beliefs. We can coexist with different beliefs, different cultural expressions, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we're seeing the breakdown, a major breakdown, whether it's in political thought, whether it's in philosophical thought upon, like, say, your diet, vegan versus omnivore, or say vegan versus paleo, or vegan versus keto. You can't have your beliefs because we're going to outlaw those beliefs, and that's what I'm afraid is happening with the radical people that subscribe to a radical form of Islam, is that their beliefs are very, very strict, very narrow. And again, you cannot be, if you're an infidel, off with your head. Now, here's the beauty, I think, of Western culture, though. I wouldn't say beauty, but it's kind of it's basically what happens if okay. People talk about, okay, well, this is the problem with radical Islamists, the jihadists and all these types. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, believe it or not, I think it's already happening. And let me explain. When you come into the Western culture, and in some ways, this was an interesting point. I don't know if it was Stefan Molyneux made this point, but it was a very interesting point. He said that the things that make a democracy great, liberty, equality, fraternity, all those things that we say we believe in, and we do, but we have kind of distilled them into tolerance and acceptance of everything. And that's what the radicals have done. And this was the very interesting thought. He says they have taken those ideas or ideals and they have, are you waiting for this? They have weaponized them. I think that's what he said. I heard someone say that. They have taken, or maybe it was the Black Pigeon Speaks. That's another one I've been watching recently. I think he was the one that said that. But they've taken our notions of liberty and freedom and they have twisted them, the ideas of tolerance and acceptance, and they have weaponized them against us. I thought that was a very brilliant insight because we seem to cling to this one thing. We have to be tolerant. We have to be tolerant. We have to be accepting. Well, it doesn't mean we have to be tolerant and accepting of people that want to kill us. We can say, thank you, but no thank you. If you want to come to this country, whether it's the UK, the US, Europe, we want you to assimilate. We want you to want to come here, and we want you, if you want to be in Germany, then be somebody that wants to learn about German culture, learn the language. One of the powerful lessons that we as American soldiers got one time is, Germans speak beautiful English. They speak better English than I do. And but one day we were driving through the Autobahn and we got lost, and so the police pulled over to see what the problem was with our little. We had 4 or 5 cars. We were going to a chaplain's conference, and they noticed that we were lost, and very helpfully they pulled off to the side. They said, "Can we help you? What seems to be the problem?" And so the American soldiers started, just yum, 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 in English, and the German police, very professional, gave him the answer to the problem. Well, this is where you need to go. That you need to go on this. Gave him the directions beautifully, perfectly, precisely. Gave him back his driver's license, registration, whatever, his S4 card. Anyway, he says, well, "I'd like to say something to you." Crisp, clear, beautiful English. He goes, I have conversed with you in your language. I have spoken with you in English." He said, "I would have preferred that because you're in my country, you would have tried to initiate the conversation in my language first. And then, if I determined that it would be better to do our business in English, I would have easily switched over." But he says, "You made no attempt to learn my language." And he said, "I'm very upset about that. And I'm going to let you know that I feel disrespected. Have a nice day." And it made a point. And the guy told us all that. And I said, well, you know what? We're guests in this country. This is not our home. We need to learn their customs as we learned how to drive along the rules of the Autobahn. And we need to understand German culture. We need to understand the language. He was right. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that come to the America, and all they do is they congregate in their own little pockets of their own. They're like foreigners who are just transplanted, and they have no desire to integrate with Western society. But again, I think that has already, in order to come to the Western culture, whether you like it or not, eventually you will be assimilated. That might sound like it's a threat. It's not. But again, when you come to America, young people want to blend in. They don't want to stand out. Young people go to school. The parents may be very staunch in their religion and their traditions and their culture, and by golly, we're not going to be westernized. Well, you know what? Your kids are already being westernized, whether you like it or not. And this is what happens to radical religions is they eventually get their horns trimmed, because if you're going to assimilate, you're going to, if you want to live peaceably, you may not agree. Again, you may not agree with a lot of Western culture. I mean, there are things that from a religious standpoint, I don't agree with. But again, people live in this country, they have rights to certain freedoms. And I will support that and say, hey, I may not agree with you, and I'll tell you why I don't agree with you. But as far as the secular mindset goes, you have a right to your beliefs. And I do not have a right to impose my beliefs upon you, just like you don't have a right to impose your beliefs upon me. And that's the beauty of, I think, a Western democracy, is that, yes, there may be things that we don't care for. We wish they didn't exist. But by and large, if you're going to live in this country, whether you want to or not, you will have to assimilate to some degree. You'll have to learn to do that. That's the beauty, I think, of Western culture. Now, it may be at a point where the reason why we're having such a clash is because there's been a huge influx, especially in the UK, or the EU and the UK, and even the United States to some extent, where, again, people have kind of weaponized some of our good beliefs, our tolerance, our acceptance, and they've kind of turned them against us. But that will only last for so long, because there will be a backlash. Now, when I say backlash, I'm not talking about quote unquote, racial intolerance, and we're going to go around, shooting people and stuff like that. Believe it or not, we don't. I mean, individuals may do these unspeakable crimes, but the people of a country, no, they would see that as wrong. Just as they would also see as, wait a minute, you're now infringing your beliefs and your law, i.e. Sharia law, into our existing legal system, and that's just not going to work. Eventually, people will start to say, no, sorry, not going to do that, not here. If you want to be part of our culture, you're welcome, but you're going to have to assimilate. You can't stand apart anymore. And I think, again, like I said, the younger generation is the first younger generation is the ones where that will take place. Again, kids don't like to stand out. They don't want to be different. I mean, now I'm not saying that it's wrong to have ideals and beliefs, but you have to learn, at least in this culture, you have to learn to take your ideals and you have to assimilate them or sublimate them in such a way where it's going to not be threatening, but be positive. I had some friends who I've had people from Japan, I've had people from Germany, I've had people from what was the other culture that I remember, Cuba. And although they were clearly immigrants, they were not threatening. In fact, they had such a unique way of living in their own personal homes that I always enjoyed going to their homes. And they were very gracious, and they always would welcome me and accept me and whatever food that they were having. It was kind of a real treat. So again, it was kind of an attraction rather than a kind of a forcing people to either turn or burn or accept or die kind of a proposition. It was they were, again, had a very low key, non-aggressive, non-threatening way of presenting, well, this is what we believe, this is what we practice, this is how we live our lives in our homes. And instead of it being threatening or kind of a negative thing, a turn-off kind of a thing, it was positive. And, again, and I think what happened was we found kind of a coming together, a cultural blending that enriched everybody's life. And so this is what I hope will happen with the Islamic people, is that eventually they're going to realize that the only way that they're going to finally make that last bridge into their new homelands, those that come here, they're going to have to take some steps to not try to hold on to what they think is right and we're all wrong, but having to come more of a kind of a meet halfway, which most people do from other countries. They realize, well, yeah, we're coming with our culture and our beliefs, but we're also moving to a new culture with new beliefs, and we're going to have to find ways to incorporate these things if we are going to be successful and really get along with people. I think it's kind of new because, when I was growing up, there was lots of difficulties with Protestants and Catholics. Um, there was differences, and it's sad to say, it's weird. I was watching a documentary of LBJ, and I remember growing up as a young boy, and LBJ was the president. I mean, of course, John F. Kennedy was this idealized president, and for better or for worse, even though he was kind of more mythical, because when he died in office, I was like 6 or 7. So then we had LBJ, and so LBJ was kind of my formative years. And even though I didn't dislike the man, I think my mom really was a big LBJ kind of a guy. Again, he just was the president. He was the one that really, was kind of part and parcel of my growing up years. But I do remember the race riots, and it's really scary because it's almost like we've gone into a time machine and we've gone back 40 years, 50 years, and we're reliving the same thing again. It's scary. It's like, where did all this come from? What happened? Again, I think the problem has to be with, believe it or not, real intolerance. And if you're going to enforce a politically correct agenda on people, people are going to say, excuse me, I'm not going to accept that. It's just like, I think, was it Tron 77? One of the guys that watches some of my videos sometimes. California is a very, everyone knows, progressive liberal. We have lots of judicial review that, unfortunately, I don't think is right. It seems to overturn the will of the people a lot because people have an agenda in the judiciary, and they use their power, I think, irresponsibly and incorrectly and wrongly to superimpose their agenda on people. And so I think Tron sent me something about Dianne Feinstein putting in this new anti-tobacco bill, and he was very concerned. He's asked me what I thought of it, and I said, well, again, I got to be honest, I'm not surprised anymore about legislation that comes out of the Ninth Circuit, the Ninth Circus. Just not. It makes me angry in some ways, but again, it's just like, well, it's another day. Another form of oppression, taking away your personal freedoms and liberties. Well, what else is new here in California? But anyway, I guess it's supposed to be trying to target the quote-unquote vaping industry that's starting off, and but it's going to be like one of these pork barrel bills where they not only come after the vapors, they're going to come after all quote-unquote tobacco products, just all tobacco products. And, pipe tobacco and I guess cigars have been kind of on the periphery, not, strictly cigarettes, because they were always coming after the cigarette lobby. But anyway, this politically correctness run amok, and eventually, I do believe that the genius about our way of living is that we'll go along with something for quite a while, but eventually, the majority of the people, whether you want to call them the silent majority or whatever, there's going to be a little bit of a backlash, and people are going to start fighting back and saying, no, you're not going to take away my rights. You're not going to take away my rights to free speech, freedom of religion, Second Amendment rights. You're not going to take those away. You're going to try. We know you're going to try, but we're not going to let you do that. Because real tolerance and acceptance is a very broad spectrum, okay? So I may not appreciate or agree with your political viewpoints. You may not agree with mine. But in a true democratic, free society, they all coexist. So, Anyway, that's what I wanted to kind of say. I was going to talk about some other things, but I have decided that for this video, I've kind of vented to my spleen a little bit. And so if you want to leave a comment, you may do so. Hey, what kind of coffee do you like to drink? You know, man, and even if you drink, adult beverages, which we call, what is your favorite beverage? Again, I may not partake with you, but again, I have my own way of celebrating my freedom, my happiness, and my way of life. So if you got something out of that, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. And as I like to say, most of my videos light up your world and light up your pipe. Woo! See you next time.